So that brings us to the Green New Deal, which is something that we Gen Z and millennials love to support. Um, so let's first talk about what even is the Green New Deal, because there's lots of misinformation about what the Green New Deal even is. So the Green New Deal aims to address climate change and economic inequality. Its primary goal is to help encourage the world to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050, meaning as much carbon would have to be absorbed and released into the atmosphere, would have to be absorbed as released into the atmosphere. And the United States must take a leading role in achieving that. So several things that the Green New Deal would do. It would transfer jobs from unsustainable power sources, such as coal, to sustainable ones like solar and wind. And there are plenty of jobs to transfer to with the engineering of these, the research.
Something happened? Or not?
That it would increase the amount of jobs because of all the research that would need to go into it. Let's see. The next thing, the next part of the Green New Deal is improving public transportation in the US by making it more accessible for people and building a high-speed rail in the US. The Green New Deal would also seek to upgrade and build energy-efficient infrastructure. And by the US enacting these, trying to put into action these goals, it would set a precedent for other developed countries around the world to follow, because the United States, ever since the end of World War II, we have been a leading country. And even though we're undergoing a huge crisis right now with the coronavirus, we can come back from this. And we will, of course, because that's just the way human life works. But the Green New Deal would, it would boost our economy significantly by creating so many new jobs for Americans after it's all safe for us again. Granted, the Green New Deal to improve public transport, to build energy efficient infrastructure, and to handle such a huge shift in the economy, it would cost somewhere from $50 to $93 trillion. However, it is cheaper to implement this now than 50 years from now, when climate change is killing us all, to put it very simply. And regardless of the cost, climate change is an issue that we need to address, or else we will die, because we do need to deal with it eventually. And it's better now than when like half the US is underwater. Yeah. However, we do need to discuss, is the Green New Deal even possible? So the Green New Deal was proposed to Congress in February of 2019 by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat of New York, and Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. The thing is, there is a close to 0% chance of it happening right now, because the US is as polarized as it was during the Civil War. Generally, the Green New Deal falls along very, very partisan lines, and generally Republicans won't vote for it. And passing the Green New Deal won't be possible unless America unites, or Congress and the presidency is overwhelmingly liberal leaning. And because the Green New Deal in its entirety is such a controversial and divisive topic right now, likely compromises will have to be made in order to make small steps toward climate change. Enforcing or trying to pass smaller bills through Congress for climate change would probably be a more feasible option than one revolutionary deal. And it would be a lot easier to gain support for the tiny measures one by one in order to get climate action actually through. So yeah, it's not looking the best right now, but there is hope. Yeah. The main thing that we can do to try to get Congress to pass the Green New Deal is to vote, because politicians vote on the Green New Deal, but we vote for the politicians. We need to vote for candidates that believe in strong climate action, and we need to combat misinformation about the Green New Deal. So there's lots of misinformation regarding the Green New Deal that I talked about already. But some other myths that people think the Green New Deal will do is take away airplanes and meat, which it does not. We can have uh, we can have air travel fueled uh, by green energy sources, and we do not need to get rid of meat in order to have sustainable agriculture. But voters need to show interest in climate change reform, Republicans and Democrats alike. The environment does not care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Climate change doesn't care whether you believe in it or not, because it's coming for all of us no matter what. And showing up to the polls is the best way to have our voice heard in our own country. And people usually think that climate change is it's a liberal issue, and it's just what the younger kids, the millennials and the Gen Z folks are interested in. But we need to show that it is important to us, because we're the ones who are going to have to suffer the consequences of it. So we need to encourage our parents to vote, our friends to vote, everyone to vote again. And then when we turn 18, we need to go out to the polls ourselves and vote. Yeah, that's what I have on the Green New Deal. Does anyone have any questions?
So what are the cons of the Green New Deals that make the Republican refuse to vote for it, even though they can see that there is future benefits to it, as like you can see the world is getting warmer. Yeah.
So the main things that turn Republicans away from the Green New Deal is the big cost. It is a big chunk of money, 50 to 93 trillion dollars. But if we wait longer, the cost does go up. And it's also important to recognize that lots of the big fossil fuel corporations are run by old white GOPers, and they have powerful lobbyists in Congress who try to sway Congress votes against legislation that would restrict and limit the fossil fuel corporations' abilities to turn a profit, because the Green New Deal would cut down on coal profits, oil profits, natural gas profits. But in the end, we just need to decide what's more important to us: profits now or human lives for the future of humanity. Yeah, does that help answer your question?
That was perfect.